There we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Follett House Friday. My name is Jeremy, and I'm the Museum Services Manager for the Sandusky Library and Follett House Museum. And we are continuing our Halloween October theme of picking out some of the weird, creepy things that belong in our collection. And this week, I was trying to figure out what would be kind of interesting and still kind of creepy, and I wanted to finish on something I always thought was very weird. Not surprising. There's lots of stuff through history that's just plain weird, and I'll never understand. And this week I decided to do something or find something that I think you guys can you'll know what I'm talking about when I talk about it, which is a little bit of fashion in the early 1900s, which was a fashion choice of putting stuffed birds on hats. Now, for those of you out there who have read the Harry Potter books or watched the movies, you'll know there's references to Neville Longbottom's grandmother, and the description is she has like a stuffed vulture mounted on her hat. And I know that seems kind of weird, outlandish, something that didn't happen. And a whole vulture, yes, is pretty outlandish. But that actually was a fashion choice in the early 1900s of having stuffed birds on your hat. And I actually have two examples of that here from our collection. We'll start with this one because I think it illustrates it best. Just, kind of mesh hat was probably, it's not in the best condition anymore, but this hat's over 100 years, well over 100 years old. So it's not surprising it doesn't look, as good as it did. But what's interesting is, you can see the feathers this side, it looks nice. But if you go on this side, and I will try and do that, you can see that the feathers are attached to a whole bird, beaks, they have glass eyes in, and they've actually stuffed the bird, just like you would. We have examples of, animals that were stuffed and put on display, taxidermy here in the collection. And that's what this is. They taxidermied a bird and put it on a hat. We have one other collection as well from our example. This one's in a little bit nicer condition. Nice straw hat, looks pretty good. You can see they kind of have like a pink almost lace as a decoration. But if you turn it to this side, I'm going to do it carefully because the hat's a little fragile. You can see these are actual wings of the bird that have been taxidermied and put on this hat as a fashion choice. And we have other pieces in our collection that use, we have a hat that uses ostrich feathers. I think we have one with peacock feathers, and that's a little bit more common. That's not unknown. But it's kind of strange that they took, birds, taxidermed, mounted them, taxidermed, stuffed them, and actually attached them to their hats. And it's, once again, just kind of something that was a fashion choice. I'm not sure how it caught on, but it did. And it was actually quite popular for a while. And why did it die off? Who knows? Just it fell out of fashion, just like lots of things with fashion that they just kind of fall out of style. But these are two examples of the idea of putting taxidermy birds on your hats. It's really strange. But if you're living that time period, maybe it didn't seem strange, or maybe there are people back then, just like today, where I think some of the fashion choices today are kind of weird and strange, but other people think, they're high style. But it just really is kind of an interesting phenomenon that this happened, and I wanted to share it with you all. And neither of these hats are on display. We have other hats on display that do use bird feathers, but these we don't have any on display that actually have the birds on them. So that was another reason I wanted to share it with you, because besides being weird, I like digging in our collection and finding things that we don't always get to show off. So this kind of concludes our October Follett House Friday collection. Of course, we'll be continuing Follett House Friday going forward. Fridays at noon. Next week, we will have an artifact connected to elections and voting here in the Sandusky area from about, once again, almost 100 years ago. And with that being said, as part of our job at the library is we always encourage anyone who is registered to go vote. So I'm going to say it now. If you are registered to vote, either attend early voting sessions. If you got an absentee ballot, make sure you return it. Or if you can't do either of those, go Tuesday and go vote. It's one of the most important things we can do as citizens of the United States. And that's part of my job at the library, and we try and do is encourage people to get out and vote. So make sure you go out and vote. With that, I hope you have a happy Halloween tomorrow and have a great weekend. And once again, it was nice seeing you all again for this Friday.